Really quick before we get started today, make sure you head over to Thrill of Possibility deck boxes over on Etsy and Arcane Collective over on TCG Player. These are two guys that I play Magic with. They're really awesome, and I wanted to give them as much support as I possibly can. If you are in the market for a playmat or any kind of other gaming accessories, head on over to jankmats.com, use code NERDSNACHOS for 10% off. If you want to stay hydrated or caffeinated and energized throughout your Magic games, head on over to w.gg, use code NACHOS at checkout for 10% off. And if you want to start your day off right, head on over to fixedcoffeebrand.com, use code NERDS and NACHOS, all one word, for 15% off at checkout. All right, let's get into it. What's going on, y'all? Welcome back to Nerds and Nachos. So a couple housekeeping things right off the top. I know I've talked about it, kind of alluded to it, and if you are on the Patreon and are on the Discord, you saw the announcement today, which was an announcement of an announcement, and this is an announcement of that announcement of the future announcement, just normal stuff that we're doing here. I do have another show coming. I've alluded to it a lot. That show, I am stating it here and now, that show is completely for guests, and that is its sole purpose. I have my first yeses to people agreeing to be on the show. Have not recorded the first episode, so we are not fully announcing the show yet. However, it is coming, so please understand that that is something that's going to happen in the near future. This will always just be me screaming at the clouds, telling you things that I like and dislike about Magic the Gathering and things that I wish that were better to make the game better. That out of the way, how's y'all's weeks been? Mine has been a challenge. So, number one, I'm sure you can see behind me, I always lean the wrong way. We got new studio decorations. I have had this bed since oh god, November, and never really had the free time or the wherewithal to build it. You can actually also, I think, see a little bit of plastic. You can see a little bit of plastic from the work that I did, like right there. It's hard to keep track of all that shit. I put this together because, still on the unemployed train. This is currently my only job. So we're putting as much work into the studio and into this as we possibly can. So we got that built up, and hey, I'm pretty proud of it. The LED strip, as you can see, did not come with clips, and so I don't know how to get it on there because I tried pulling that like blue thing off. It's not sticky, so I don't know what I'm gonna do. I don't know how I'm gonna get it up there, but I'm gonna figure it out. Uh, Outside of that, I built a new deck. I built Raph's really, really bad day, utilizing Raphael Ninja Destroyer. I talked about him last week when I talked about how many legendary creatures there are, and I stated the idea that you could just make him indestructible, hit him with a ton of burn spells, and then essentially use him as a ritual constantly. And, that's what we built. It's not had its first games yet. That's coming on Wednesday of this week. We're going to check it out. I've had my real life pod players and friends help me with a couple additions, and we're going to see how it goes. Past that, what else? What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? Oh man, as far as like getting out of the unemployment hole, we are in limbo for like two jobs. They're just waiting to hear back either positively or negatively from both of them. It's the waiting that truly kills you. But, you know, that's my own life. I will constantly complain about it to you because what else are you here for? Magic the Gathering content? And on my Magic the Gathering podcast? Never. Anyway, let's get into it. So, what am I talking about this week? This week, I'm talking about being priced out of Magic and playing the game. Now, I've said it on several episodes of this show that new players are what keep this game alive. New players coming in and enjoying the game, discovering the game, that's what keeps it alive. That's what keeps the game going, and it's always a positive thing, whether they come in from a normal set, a Universes Beyond set, a Modern Horizons set, whatever they come in on, whatever strikes their interest, that's a really positive thing. Having a new player coming in is a great thing. The issue comes from the pricing of product and singles, both in the primary and the secondary markets for Magic cards. Now I'm going to start talking about the primary market, the sealed product market, if you will. by going over some things. So a standard set pack is going to be about $5. That still to some people can be out of their budget, but is a little bit more affordable than your Universes Beyond set or your premium set pack, sitting at a rough $7.50, depending on your state's taxes. I personally am in North Carolina. I think it's like $7.62, maybe $7.70, somewhere around in there. But the return on that investment, as we're all gambling, looking for either the card that we want or to make our money back on that pack. When the price goes up, it's hard to do that. And if you're already having a hard time affording a $5 pack, it becomes even harder when that pack jumps another $2.50 to $7.50. Now, the same thing can be said for bundles. Bundles are a great way to get a lot of cards. You get a fancy spin down counter. Some people, like myself, collect those fancy big spin down counters. Have been playing the game long enough to remember when bundles were called fat packs and the spin down that you got was small. It wasn't large. I've lost most of those, unfortunately, and I am very sad about that. But that's not part of my point. The base set bundle that you're looking at is $60. That's that's the price of what, a video game in 2016. Now they're pushing $70 and $80, but you know what I'm talking about. It's the price of a video game that can be hard for people, but they can save up for it. It becomes a way to get a lot of packs very easily. You get a promo card and you get a lot of lands. It's a great way to start playing the game. Or if you're an established player, it's a great way to open packs and get a lot of matching lands. Now, if you pair that with a premium bundle or a Universes Beyond bundle, those are pushing $73 depending on where you live and what your state taxes are. That again, $13 price increase can make it infinitely more difficult for someone who's already struggling to afford the game to afford these cards and afford this easy introduction into playing the game. And then next I was at my local department store, and I saw something I didn't expect to see on the shelves. The next two things I'm going to talk about, I didn't expect to see these on the shelves. So the first one of those was the Draft Night kit was on the shelf. There was only one of them, but still, that's not something in the last few sets, or especially Lorwyn when it came out, that I've seen on the shelf. I've seen still sitting there. It's been there for days at this point, and I believe it's because of the price. So the price of the draft kit, which I believe is roughly half a booster box, maybe a little bit less. I think it's around like 12 packs, 12 regular play boosters, and a collector booster for the winner of the draft night. If you compare that to a base set booster box, which is what I kind of did, because as much as I do am happy for, as much as I do like and am happy for the Ninja Turtles fans, my sights have been set very squarely on Strixhaven since I heard that we were going back to that plane. I have not really wanted anything from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and that might influence my decision on this, but I've been more focused on Strixhaven coming out in the next month, and those booster boxes are roughly $160 to maybe $200, depending on how stores price them. But if you are able to pick one up for MSRP, roughly around $150 to $160. The Draft Night box is half of the packs. I think a normal booster box is 36, and a Draft Night is maybe a third of that. It's 12. 13 in total with the collector booster, and it's $140. The Draft Night kit is $140. Now, yeah, when you're buying a play booster box, you don't get all of the hits or the chance at a serialized card that the one collector booster in there would give you. But at the same time, you could do a Draft Night with the box and still have packs left over. Still have 24 packs left over if it's still at 36. If it's 24 and it is fully half, then you have 12 more packs left over for yourself or another Draft Night that's not going to cost you another $140. And that, if someone wants to get into draft, is definitely going to price them out. $140 is a lot of money. I mean, it's 3 to 4 days worth of groceries for a family of 2? That's a ton of money. They're going to really, really feel that, and that's going to price them out from joining the game and finding fun in the limited and draft formats that box could offer. Now I know there's issues with the pick 2 draft format that is in the smaller Universes Beyond sets. I get that. I know there's issues with it. I'm not naive to that. But if somebody really likes Ninja Turtles and they really, really like the limited format and the format of the pick 2 draft, then they're going to want something like the Draft Night box, but they're going to be priced out from being able to afford it. And this one was the coup de grace for me. I was poking around that card section and I saw little tins with about the size of a Magic card with Ninja Turtles on them. And I flipped it up and it is a $24 tin with 3 play boosters and a sticker. Now I know that these are probably sold specifically by the store and packaged specifically by the store, but they are shrink wrapped. So it's still kind of laughable. I mean, 3 play boosters is roughly the same price, and you're telling me that that sticker is worth the extra dollar or so. I'm not buying it. I'm not. It's what, 20, it would be 22.50, and you're telling me that $24 that extra $1.50 is the sticker. I don't buy that. I couldn't justify picking one of those up. I mean, granted, the situation that I'm in, I'm not going to justify spending a lot of money on Magic cards. That's why I'm proxying a lot more right now. But be that as it may, in the primary market, you have all of these prices going up, especially with the Universes Beyond sets being more of the sets that we have this year. Most of the sets this year are going to be more expensive. They're going to price people out from playing the game. There are 3 sets this year that have the base price tag of a $4.99, $5.99 booster pack. That's Lorwyn, which has already gone by, Secrets of Strixhaven, which is next month, and Reality Fracture, which is closer to the end of the year. That's it. The other 4 sets are Universes Beyond. They're going to be at a premium. Those boosters are going to be $750. The bundles are going to be $73, and their draft nights are going to be $140, when you could just buy a booster box for $160, depending on where you are and if you're able to get it at MSRP. Shifting from that over to the secondary market and buying singles, there's a different problem there. The issue with the secondary market is, one, not only are staples going to be more expensive. That's understandable. If it's a staple, more people are playing it, there's more demand for it, and only a set amount of these cards in existence. So it becomes harder and harder for them to keep a lower price tag. But there's also the alternate treatments, the alternate arts, the shatterfoils, and all of these things, and the prices for those vary so wildly, it's insane. We can take the Soulstone, for example. Its base form is $70. That right there is already hard for people to afford. I know personally myself, mine was Rhystic Study. I couldn't afford a Rhystic Study for a long time. I used my tax refund from last year to afford a Rhystic Study. And now the Soulstone is $70. And that's just the base version. We're not talking foil. The Thanos art is pushing what, $1,200? I think it's $1,168 or something. That's insanely expensive. And then when you get to the one that is just the textless Soulstone, it kind of looks like a Yu-Gi-Oh card back. That one's even more. I think it's in the tens of thousands of dollars. And then you have the sought after serialized cards are in the tens of thousands, and the one of one ring is roughly like $2 million. I mean, the secondary market cards have always accrued value. I mean, you've got Black Lotus, you've got the original dual lands. Those cards, especially reserve list cards, are always going to accrue value because they can't be reprinted. And it's the same thing with these Universes Beyond cards. They can't be reprinted. They are essentially the new reserved list because there's so many licensing issues and fees associated with it and contracts that have to be drawn up that it is nigh impossible to have them reprinted in a way that is meaningful and will reduce the price. That prices people out of the game. It makes it hard for them to pick up cards. It makes them more likely to proxy. And as someone who is having to proxy more now, because I don't have the income to sit and buy packs or buy the singles that I want/need, I'm totally okay with that. I mean, print your singles. Print your proxies. It's okay. If you're testing out a deck and you're not using it in a tournament format that doesn't allow proxies, then I see no issue with it. I don't think we should shame people for not being able to afford the real card. We don't know anyone else's life. We don't know what's going on. We don't know what they can and can't afford. So we should approach it from the mindset of I'm here to play against you. I am not here to play against your wallet. And that's the philosophy that I always take in. Now there are some fringe cases, and I think where the issue of proxies really starts to drive people up a wall is it does become much easier to make a stronger deck through proxies because you can print out the cards that you need that are going to take your deck from a certain power level and to up a notch. And it becomes easier. There's not that barrier of, oh, I had to pull the card when I was playing at the time, or I had to purchase the card. I would say that if you had unlimited income, you would run into the same issues. But I think the temptation when you're printing proxies is to just print out the strongest deck possible. And when you go up against people who are building out of collection and maybe don't have access to cards that way or those types of cards, they can get a little frustrated with the power level mismatch because that's where a lot of the issues are going to stem from. But that little tangent aside, mostly these cards are expensive and price people out, and none of us want that. New players and new people coming into the game keep the game alive. It is positive for new people to come and play this game. If I think in one of my first episodes I talked about if no one started playing the game, if no one new came into the game and no one new started trying to play Magic, the game would die because eventually the last person who played would die. And then there's no more game. It's gone. So new players and people coming in are the lifeblood no matter where they come from. They could come from Ninja Turtles or Spider-Man or the Marvel set or Star Trek or whatever, what have you. They could come in from those, and as long as they're in the game, that's a positive. And none of us should want any of these players to be priced out from playing what is essentially the greatest game in the world. But I am going to leave it there. I've talked a lot about pricing, I've talked a lot about how capitalism can make things hard. I do want to leave it with I understand why things are priced the way they are. If these companies go under, they don't make enough money from the sales, then less companies are incentivized to cross over with Magic. And should Wizards of the Coast or Hasbro go under because of these investments, so many people lose their jobs. Same thing with stores. If they go under because nobody's buying these cards, which is an odd sentence, yes, I know, but if they go under, then people lose their jobs, and those people lose their ability to have health insurance, provide for themselves, and provide for their families. And nobody wants that. I think we all just want to be able to afford to play the game that we love so much, and ultimately, that's what we should want. But thank you all so much for listening and for watching today. I know I've rambled quite a bit. If you want to support the show, you can do so over on Patreon. We have tons of rewards and tiers. Starts at $1, goes to $100. If you want to test the waters, I fully suggest $5 a month and above. That gets you monthly zine sent straight to your house. At $10 a month and above, you get monthly zine, or not monthly, you get the monthly zine, and every 3 months, I send you a batch of proxies, kind of akin to a Nerds and Nachos secret lair. I design everything. I hand draw all the zines, and I design everything for the proxies on Canva, and I send them all directly to you. Absolutely no AI is used in the making of these things. I hate AI. I also want to give a shout out to our patrons, Sarah, Kate, Ian, Jenny, Grayson, Jake, and Charlie. Thank you all so much for supporting the show. I could not do it without y'all. I could not do it without y'all. Every cent and every dollar goes to help the show, help me, and help my cats and my partner. All the money goes to that. So thank you all so much. If you want to support in a non-monetary way, you can do so on your audio apps of choice, whether that be Spotify, Apple, or Amazon, by giving us a 5-star review after finishing the episode. It just pushes us out into the algorithm, lets people know that if they like this show, they might like it too. If you're over on YouTube, finish up the watch and give us a like and a subscribe. It does the same thing. It pushes us out in the algorithm. It lets people know that if they like Magic shows, they will like this one as well. Thank you all so much for watching and for listening, and I hope you have a great week.